Let's just make sure. Oh, that's hot. Look at the temperature of that. It's 90 degrees.
Hey folks, welcome back. It is the Big Barn build, and today is probably the most exciting day of the build so far. That's why I've got a big cheeky grin on my face. It is delivery time. Let's build some walls. Monday morning, big red lorry on the driveway, which is always a good start, which means our walls are here, believe it or not. All the way, fresh from the forests of Scotland. So he's going to come down, we're going to unload. I have no idea what it's going to look like in volume. I have no idea what to expect behind those curtains. Alright, they're a bit heavier than I thought. I think we'll go for single packs at a time now. Alright, first side off. Now it's a bit of a switcheroo and I'll stack the other side over there, I think. Now you're probably as impatient as me, so let's give you a couple of minutes of behind the scenes framing, and then we'll come back here and we'll explain about how we're framing, why we're framing this way, and a little bit more about this timber. Well, the old trusty forklift did its job and we got all of our packs of timber off, stacked. The original plan was going to be to get these timber packs boomed in with a telehandler and taken straight into the slab. I just feel like, even though it's been a week or two since the slab was down, too much at risk there. If it was a structural slab, we were going to have lots of layers on top of it, that'd be one thing. But for us, being that it's going to be a polished concrete slab and it's got all of that insulation and heating underneath, it's not worth the risk. Luckily, these guys are nicely wrapped up completely with these waterproof covers on. So as long as we work fairly fast, they're all going to just be used from out here. I can take some of it in and we'll stack them in piles. That's going to be my job today, as well as all the sheet materials that arrived last week. This is not your conventional timber frame, nor is it a conventional build in any way really. We've got our steel frame barn, but really, while we are using the same structure and that's supporting our roof, I want to almost ignore the fact that that's there and think, how would I build if I was building just a new, really high performance self-build home? And for me, wanting to work in timber, because that means I can do it myself. I'm not a bricklayer, block layer, and while there are really good ways of building efficiently in what you might call traditional materials, i.e. masonry, I'm happier working with timber, and I think we can achieve a really high performance building this way. So if you remember back to when we built the cabin 2 years ago, we built with standard CLS there, so 89mm studs, insulated, OSB on the inside, and then on the outside we used a wood fibre board, so it's externally kind of wrapped in insulation, all nice and breathable, all nice and airtight. So imagine that, but supersized. And the only way you can supersize, if you don't have access to perfectly straight, perfectly flat 12-inch or 300mm timbers, which really you wouldn't want to be using anyway, because you'd end up with so much thermal bridging, even though it's wood. You use an engineered stud. There are a few different ways you can engineer a joist, but we're using I-joists, which are made by they're JJI joists, they're called, made by James Jones and Son, which is a timber merchants timber manufacturer up in Scotland. And we're working with them on these videos because I think there's a load to share on this that I couldn't really find much detail on online. So I thought, well, we'll make some videos and hopefully it'll help share the process with other people. We've also teamed up with them, so these videos throughout the sort of timber framing and getting the mezzanine in are sponsored videos. They're going to be sponsored by James Jones, so thank you to them for getting on board and working with us, because it's really helped both on budget and as far as all the technical support they've been able to send to us and our engineer and getting things moving. Right. So we have a wall, or a part of the wall, so we're just kind of testing the theory at the moment. Getting section, we managed to lift that one, that's 5-6 meters, and it wasn't too bad. There's obviously some components that are not in there, like the lintel and the cripple studs and things underneath the window. The engineer spec for them to be shot fired through. We can either do that, I still have to either hire or buy some kit to do it, although I just found some heavy gauge self-drilling screws, so we put a few of those in just to hold it in place for now. And we also decided to bring in some of our OSB sheathing boards and lie them down flat, so we've got smooth. This last 2.4 meters, it's going to be nice and smooth, a bit more durable to work on. We've got the tower, and these boards, we'll cover this in a future video, but these boards are the airtight OSB passive boards, so they're going to go up on that inside face anyway. Alright, ready? It's got the heavy side, haven't it? The heavy side. I'm not doing anything. It's quite nice and warm. Yeah, it's just the point where it didn't slip. Oh, whether it's very Obviously, being that this is a slightly deeper wall than a conventional stud wall, we've opted to use these I-studs. This is our joist material. This is what our whole first floor is going to be built out of. But at the same time, we decided to make it a universal material in that we didn't need them to be 300 for the floor. We wanted them at about 300 for the wall. So we upgraded the floor to match the walls so that everything is interchangeable. Any offcuts, we want to really minimize offcuts. So offcuts from one can be used for the other and vice versa, noggins, blocking, anything like that. So the ins and outs of it I'll detail in the future. But so far we've got our full height studs cut to the angle of the roof, glue lam out on that top plate. And then at the bottom, a double sole plate, the bottom one being an LVL, and then a glulam. So both of those are solid timbers and 300mm. All right, there you go, a bit more action. We have made a good start, and for 2 days work, I'm quite pleased how far it's gone, and we're kind of learning as we go. I'll share more info as I teach myself, but by the time we get to the other walls, I think we'll be much, much quicker. So what we've got is almost like a conventional stud wall, just supersized. We've got our JJI joists, albeit they're studs here, so I studs at regular centres. Starting on the corner, we've got that stud still to put in. There's a bit of a corner detail to show you on those external corners. The sole plate at the bottom is made from glulam, so instead of using solid conventional timber, trying to find 12-inch wide timber, which wouldn't be 300mm anyway, so it'd be too small, you just wouldn't find it. So glulam, again, using an engineered timber works well. Glulam, it's exactly 300, it's really nice and neat, nice and stable. We got it in 6 metre lengths. Basically, everything is made in 12 metre lengths. We got the packs cut into 6 metres for transport, and nothing we have is over 6 metres, whether it's the ridge is 5.5 and the bays of joists are 4.4 or 4.2. So nothing was needed to be 6, and it worked out quite efficient to do it that way. So what we got is I-joist at that point, and then when you get to the windows, we've got different detailing. So we've used solid for our jack studs. You can use I-joists there, and you fill the web of them with OSB. I'll show you that detail in the future. But here we've got glulams, which are supporting our lintel. The lintel, you'll have to wait for a future video there, because I'm going to do a video on how we build those. It's not solid all the way through, which is nice because it means we can insulate that box above us, box lintel basically. There's a little bit of calculating to do still, waiting for the engineer to confirm bits over on the other side where our first floor is hanging on the wall. But it's easy enough to pick that through and show you how we build those afterwards. But they're built as a single unit and then put up. Might have been able to see it in some of the footage from Monday, but we've got an LVL on the bottom, which is like supersized plywood. That is 40mm thick by 300. That is sat on our DPC at the bottom. So our double sole plate is made up of one of those and a glue lam, and they will be bolted through, probably resin fixed down into our block work. So that is the detail at the bottom. We built them on the deck because we've got a nice flat floor now, and we stood them up. Easier and lighter than I thought, so no issues there. We're going to do them in sort of manageable sections, stand them up, and then at the top we've got a glue lam again. So that top glue lam, obviously there's still some little studs to go in above here. That top glue lam has got a DPC between it and the steel, just to make sure there's no wood to steel contact, even though those steel should be absolutely fine and dry and warm. But that's what the detail is there, and that's going to offer a bit of secondary support to that steel rafter if it's needed, which it really isn't, but you know, it is as far as the engineering goes. We've done that. So that's it. That's our wall done. I say done, it's still got to have a skin on the outside, skin on the inside, membranes, battens. That should leave us then at a point where we've got the outside boarded and membraned. The membrane will run over the window openings because they won't be here for a while. And then we can do that stage all the way around the building, and then we can get to work on the inside. Now finally, without giving you too much of a teaser, the full height section, which we haven't really looked at too much yet, instead of building to first floor, putting in our joists and then building another stud wall on top of that up to our gable, we've decided to balloon frame. We toyed with both ideas. The original engineer's drawings were for conventional framing up to first floor and then start again. When I looked at that, the amount of timber that was in the wall and the amount of joists that ran through the wall structure and the airtightness detail, it was harder to achieve and not as efficient. So I proposed that we looked at this option, which was absolutely fine, just needed some slightly different details. And what that is, it's called balloon framing. Basically, you just build full height and then you hang your floor in afterwards. And bearing in mind we're only hanging on the two gables, everything else is on those steels, it made sense. And I think it's going to be a better way to go, just not quite so normal. So down in this snug, for example, while it's not a first floor, it's just going to be ceiling joists because we want to put a flat ceiling in here. What you can see is we've built full height studs all the way up to the top, and we've done that all the way along. And then at the height that we need the ceiling joists to come off at, we've got blocking in there, that glue lam blocking. So what that means is we can now put our OSB sheeting all the way up the wall, and knowing that we've got that good sort of solid grounding behind the OSB, then when we come to put that ledger board along the wall with all of our hangers on it, we already know that we've got a really good fixing point at exactly the right height behind the OSB. So we can bolt the ledger board onto there. But before that happens, because the OSB layer goes all the way up to the roof and it's taped, that is our vapor barrier complete and our airtight layer complete along the whole wall. We can pump in insulation. The insulation will fill this cavity from the top all the way to the bottom. And really at that point, we've got a fully insulated shell around the whole building. All those joists, the hangers, are all hanging on the warm side. So there's nothing penetrating through that layer, which is where you potentially could lose air and moisture, because that could be a leaky part of the building. There is a way of doing it. You would need to carry your membrane up, across, up and back in, and do a lot of taping. Whereas if I can build these huge walls, board them, tape them, I know it's just one barrier. There's no failure point there from the efficiency point. And then we've got that solid place to hang the first floor. Hopefully it is a good idea. Look, we're off to a flying start, but there's a fair old slog to go. We're going to do the gables first because they're the hardest to temporarily sheet from the weather. The sides are actually pretty protected as it is. So get the two ends done and then we'll work on the smaller bays. They should be easier, but again, there'll be details that we'll find that are going to be harder. So it's mainly working out the way that we work around the steel frame, because that's where really the weak spots could be in the building. I think we've got a good route to go now, but yeah, nothing is basically as it was designed on the plan. So there's a lot of going back and forward and changing bits and bobs, but I think it's for the better to do it that way. And a lot of it, you could be the best architect in the world and design it all on paper or on CAD and all that, but until you're on site and you realise certain things, you can't get it all right. So there's no blame or anything. It's just a case of certain supports and things, if you actually put them in, you'd end up with a 1.8 metre ceiling or something stupid like that, because there's little brackets and fins and details, corbel type things on the seals, which you can't really cut out, and they need to be there. So anyway, that's for me to chew over. Oh, we need to stop because I haven't done the plug. T-shirts are now being printed. So they're on the website. If you want to go and check them out, there's 2 new designs on there. People have been ordering, we've been sending them out. And the calendar, the farm calendar and Restoration Couple calendar is, I think we've got the first batch back, but if you want to order them, everything's going out in November and December, of course, Christmas presents. But this one, quite like this one. I mean, it probably rings true with many people. And I don't have enough tools because my poor nailer, that nail gun, which I bought for the roofing project 5 years ago, just died on me. And we took it apart as safely as we could. There's something not happening there. I tested what I could, but the trigger is just not working on it. And I'm going to send it off because I'm not going to waste a tool like that. But knowing that would take 2 or 3 weeks, I've had to order another one. Thank you to James Jones & Sons for taking on our little build, well, our big build, as a sponsored video series. They are going to be featured in, like I said, in all these videos. But if you want more technical stuff, head over to their website. They've got various different products, and hopefully as we move through the build, when we start doing our internal partitions, we're going to be featuring other bits about their business, about their push for homegrown sort of UK timber and sustainable ways of building. So it's really exciting, and it means I can get on the tools finally and see some progress, because working below ground is not fun. So big respect to any ground workers and bricklayers and everything out there, because I don't know, I'm not passionate about that sort of stuff. But timber, hammers, nails, power tools, let's go. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.